we have some kind of moral superiority. What if, let me ask this. Is an unconstitutional law necessarily a bad idea? Philosophically, are all unconstitutional laws philosophically bad? No. And is a constitutional law automatically philosophically a good idea? No. So the question's not first, should we do it? The question first, constitutionally speaking, is can the government do it? Okay? Now, we sometimes, because of our faction fighting mentality, and when I say this, a lot of people say, yeah, but the Democrats. Okay, now, let me ask this. Who here's, I'm gonna give you this is not a negative thing, I'm gonna give you lots of praise, but do we have a Democrat in the room? Okay, case in point, okay? So a lot of people are like, why are you always so critical of the conservatives? Because we're the ones that actually are going to do something about it. And so that's why I care so much about making sure that we're in line with correct principles. So just because one faction seems to attack proper principles quite a bit doesn't mean that we say, okay, this law or this executive order, this thing we want to do is going to promote a good thing. And so it's okay if we seize up lots of executive power. It's okay if we step outside the bounds of the Constitution to be able to do this because it's going to promote good. Is that okay? The Constitution is an inspired framework, and we must stay within the bounds because, as Thomas Jefferson said, a single step beyond the bounds of the Constitution is to usurp an endless field of power. They won't stop at just one step. You let them take that one single step beyond the bounds of the Constitution, they'll continue, and they'll continue, and they'll continue. No matter who's in office, no matter what is promoting, we have to keep accountability to the proper bounds of the Constitution. Tonight marks the first night of Passover. I had this thought about 4 years ago. I was thinking, how did we go from Joseph bringing his family into Egypt and having lots of prosperity to fast forward, the Hebrews are enslaved? How did we get there? Well, it wasn't just the Hebrew people, but all of Egypt. Famine came, and you know what they did? All of Egypt, including the Hebrews, but even Egyptian people, they said, let us give you all of our property in exchange for feeding us. You give us grain, and we'll give you our property. The government's going to take care of you. They're doing something good, right? The government's feeding people. Over time, several generations passed, and Pharaoh comes along that didn't care, didn't remember Joseph and his people, and decided to enslave the Hebrews. So this is what happens when we do not keep government in check. Now, speaking of Israelites, I want to say something about Israelite heritage. And this can, even if you're not Latter-day Saint and you don't agree with this idea, I think there's still a value in just remembering to become refocused on our identity through God. But I want to turn to the Book of Mormon, where Captain Moroni got up and he was preparing his army. He spoke to his men. And do you know what he said? Did he get up there and rally the men up and say, those Lamanites are going to go battle those stupid Lamanites? Was he pointing fingers? You know what Captain Moroni said? To prepare them and inspire them, he said, you are of the remnant, the seed of Joseph. He reminded them of their identity. I put forward that part of the reason we're losing the battle, we won't lose the war. God wins the war. But at times we're losing the battle, and I'd say it's because we don't know our identity. The matrix has us caught up in chasing distractions on policy. Do we have to fight some policies? Yes. Do we have to fight pornography in the schools? Yes. Do we need to help good candidates get in office? Yes. So when I say this, I'm not saying just sit on the sidelines and be a philosopher. That's not what I'm saying. It requires action. But first and foremost, we have to learn principles. And we have to know our identity, or we will lose the battle if we don't know who we are. Captain Moroni, going into war, his message was, you are of the seed of the remnant, you are a remnant of the seed of Joseph. Now, I mentioned earlier tonight that I'm a musician. God recently dropped in my lap something that I had to begin writing. He said, I need you to write this. And how could I speak such blasphemy that God inspired me to write a rap song? What blasphemy? It's rap crap. I still get that. Now, God did not bless me with a singing voice. Take that up with him. But he did bless me with music production skills and with rapping skills. Again, Mormon white boy in Utah, I don't know, take it up with him, but I have these skills and he inspires me to do good with it. And being a single father, working my day job, and doing Liberty United, it is very tiring. And I love music with a passion. I love music with a passion. But I'm willing to shelve it, okay? I have a lot on my plate. I'm willing to shelve it and just say, okay, God, you know, I love doing this thing over here. It's cool. But tell me where you want me. Tell me what you want me to do. I want to be focused. I want to do I've got a lot on my plate. But I keep saying, no, keep doing the music. And then this song came to me. So I just spoke about being refocused. I just want to play something for you really quick that I just released tonight. And I'm going to have my friend Jadoni get up for just like 30 seconds to introduce us while I get it queued up. And then we'll go into the next speaker. But I just want to share this, and I hope it touches your hearts. But Jadoni, come on up here. And I'll work on getting that video.
Hey everyone, my name is Jadoni. I helped Jake make this video. So one of the really interesting things about this video is that one of the most amazing things is all the people that came to volunteer their time and to show up and help make the video possible. I see there's a lot of people here who helped make the video. So if you were either in front of the camera or worked behind the scenes, part of the casting crew for this music video, please stand up. I know there's a few of you here. There's a lot of you. Awesome, yeah. So, and it's different. It's pretty cool, honestly, and I think it turned out really well. So as you're watching the video, as Jake was saying, just kind of look for the message that's kind of in it, what the characters are doing, what they're kind of going against. Those are kind of things to watch out for. But I hope you like it. Anyway.
Martem subteg minimus latentes patimum, carpe diem in la cabine lutem inveni.
What about before he painted on the mausoleum?
Oh, so like before it's too late?
We play these games to charade before we painted on the mausoleum.
Okay, you can have one.
What's really unsaid to be racing the river again. Once a long time, we will get it back. I don't really hope but you'll bring back. Get breath from the outside science. I see times when I really want to.
Separate death while hiding. We find the last time for rewriting. We are lost. What is the cost? We need a flame which chill in frost. We hide in the shadows, play roles of control. Stop the patrol, we keep the console. With a spot for the dukes and nobles. Dress up for the ball, romance is global. Everything is off, it's a big charade. Why do we don't so fake? It's a masquerade. Hide your face in the glamour, it's a big display. Let's dance to the rhythm like a black parade. For the one who sees the little one to speak. I know you pretend that you don't lie and cheat. The silence is worse than the violence. We have power to change, which I compliant. Why do we fall? We fall so we get back up. It all starts with you and me, we can build it up. Life is a battle, we on display. Let's dance at the masquerade.
And we stop just being fake before we painted on the mausoleum. We build Holocene, we play these games to charade. Light a match to yesterday. Burn a mask of shame. Masquerade in the flame. Here we are, in the ashes of yesterday. Remove the mask that hides the pain. Make room and build a brighter face. And we stand just being fake before we painted on the mausoleum. We build Holocene, we play these games to charade. Light a match to yesterday. Burn a mask of shame. Masquerade in the flame.
Me? Okay. All right. Hey, give it up for Jake Oakes in the music video. Good job. Okay, so our next speaker is Jason Preston. So if he could come on the stage. Jason Preston is an entrepreneur and proud husband, father, and recent grandfather. Host of the We Are the People podcast, or We Are the People Utah podcast, where he and his wife, Alexia, dive into unfiltered conversations on current events, culture, faith, and the issues shaping Utah, urging listeners to seize control of their own communities. In 2022, he ran for Congress in Utah's 3rd District as a Republican. Jason has relentlessly pushed for people to take charge of their own backyard proving individuals can make a real difference where they stand. Present you with this plaque. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Honestly, I just think you guys are the real heroes here. Saturday night, you guys could all be doing a lot of other things, and the fact that your heart beats for freedom, that you'd come to something like this to show up and be a part of this community just speaks volumes to your character. And, you know, with you see me up here and you see us on, you know, the radio show, but what you really don't see is all the people behind that really make that happen. You don't see the people the mothers who send us checks, the fathers, you know, the business owners that help pay for billboards, that pay for the studio. You don't see, I mean, you see Chelsea, but there's so many people who do the research. I mean, honestly, we just have people show up and we just do it. And so I think I appreciate this, but there's just so many people, including so many here in this audience, that do so much that really should deserve it. You guys just do so much, and I just appreciate that. Especially that freaking woman. Get up here. Yes. Stand up at least. Stand up. Because it's not Jason. Come on. I could not do this without this woman. And no, I mean it. It is not. It is us. When we ran for Congress, it was us. I mean, we never could have a campaign manager. It was always Alexia. We were in and out of trying to find people, and she just. I mean, if any of you could be so lucky to have a woman like this, and you know, the thing you don't see is, you know, we go through some hell sometimes, and she goes through some hell, and you know, the thing is, she just sticks with it and keeps fighting, and especially these last few months, it's been a storm. It's been a storm, and I just appreciate her because there's just no way I could fight this fight without her, and I'm just so thankful to her. A couple things I want to talk about. Well, yeah, and I want to thank Jake for putting this on. I know Jake's going through a lot in his life, and I think the thing that makes this fight matter is consistency, is sticking with it when times are good, when times are bad. I know that's been the hard thing for us, is there's a lot of ups and downs, and what makes a difference is just going back to the fight and not giving up, even when you don't want to, and Jake's a good example of that, so thank you, Jake. So it's been a crazy adventure for us. You know, obviously we started running for Congress because we just knew we had corrupt politicians who didn't understand the Constitution. Jake talked about that. They don't understand the principles. I promise you sit down with almost any of our politicians, particularly John Curtis, and a lot of our state reps. They do not understand the Constitution. They don't understand the proper role of government. We may not be but we know the proper role of government, and we can vote right. We can do the right thing. So we ran. After we ran, we thought the corruption was in D.C. Then we realized how bad Utah was, and we thought, well, there's some problems here, and we realized election integrity was a huge problem. We realized there's problems with the culture. You know, so we started finding other ways to fight, because you don't have to run for office or be a politician to make a difference. Anybody can make a difference. So we said, you know what, we see a problem with the culture. They don't understand the problems. So let's start a radio. We started doing radio, and then we started a podcast. And the effort was just to wake people up, because the only way we fix the problems in the state is when the alcoholics or the addicts or the problems recognize the problem. And the culture of Utah has a problem, which is we have our heads in the sand collectively. That's not by accident. That's the sad thing. And, you know, we point out KSL, we point out Deseret News, but Alexi and I this past, starting right with the new year, I know some of you are familiar, we got a lawsuit filed against us for, we had someone threaten us to take down some of the content that we put up. And that content had to do with ritualistic abuse. It's something that was someone brought it to us and we've studied it and we thought, you know what? We believe it. We believe the victims. And so when we were pressured to take it down, we said, you know what? You can go pound sand. We're not taking it down. And so that lawsuit came. And we said, you know what we're going to do? You want us to take this down because you want to operate in darkness. You want secrecy. So we're going to start interviewing as many people as we can, and we will shine a light so bright that you can't hide as cockroaches from this stuff. Well, we began going down that road and starting to interview people. And I don't know what to tell you. It's been insane. And I will tell you this. It's bad. It's bad. The problem in this state is very bad. You've got a few hot spots in this country for real abuse, trafficking. You have the nation's capital, which I believe the adversary captured long ago. And you understand Epstein. Why are all our politicians corrupt? Because of the trafficking, because of the kids, because of the stuff that goes on in Epstein Island, because of the Pizzagate stuff. I promise you it is real in DC. That is why your politicians don't represent you, because they're owned, because they're doing this garbage. Hollywood, the cultural heart of our country, the adversary has captured. And you can see it. They flaunt it in your face. Look at the Olympics. It is outwardly satanic right in your face with Hollywood. Well, there's another big hot spot. And that hot spot is your backyard. I believe there is so much light in this state, and that is you. There are so many good people here. But where there is light, there is always an equal amount of darkness. And I will promise you that darkness is so dark. It is terrifyingly dark. And I promise you, it is real. I want you to think about this. I can say it in this group. I'll say this. Why has this fight become so important? One is because we start talking to so many people, and it's heartbreaking to hear what's happening to our children. But my mother was sexually abused. My sister was sexually abused. My wife was sexually abused. And I have a daughter that was sexually abused. Did you know in this state, first off, how many people that are abused actually will go to the police and talk about it? Very few. Of those that do go to the police and report it, do you know what the conviction rate is in Utah? 3%. 97% of the people who are raping and torturing our children are going away untouched. Only 3% are getting prosecuted. What does that 3% equal when compared to the rest of the nation? It puts Utah at the 6th highest state for rape per capita. I am telling you, we have a problem here. We can go and we can chop at the tree of corruption. We can chop at branches. We can chop at Cox. We can chop at election integrity. We can chop at all these issues. You know what the root of evil and corruption in this state is? It is this. It is the trafficking. It is the evil that is preying on our children. And I promise you, there's a reason we have that 3% conviction rate. This is the heart. You want to see the heart of DC? It's not all our garbage going on with our politicians. It is what is going on in the basements. It is the abuse of children. It is the blood of the innocent. And that is why God is fed up. We know this is real. We've talked to enough people. And I will tell you the sad thing is, it is far, far worse than we can talk about. But I believe God has had enough, and I believe we are going to see this evil exposed. I also wanted to just say a couple things. I think America, and I think particularly Utah, are in for a real. I think we are in the calm before the storm. I think there is a sense of false security. Trust all of our leaders. I believe sometime soon we will see a leadership crisis that will shake this country and especially this state. We all are so conditioned to look for heroes to come and save us, for presidents, for politicians. The heart of our message has never changed. I believe that God wins. We know God will win. But I believe the answer isn't sitting back and waiting for someone in D.C. to fix our problems. It's understanding the corruption that is happening in our very backyards. And it is the average person like each one of you standing up and taking action, because you are not powerless. You have no idea how powerful you are. You were sent to earth. We were sent to earth to fight this fight. And it is happening in your backyard, and you can make a difference. And that is why our logo, that is what We Are the People is about. It's not about some powerful politicians who are going to save us. The power is you. You have the ability. God sent you. And as I wrap up, I want to read one last thing. And this was something I actually want to read, because this actually just sums up my thoughts. These past few months of spending time with survivors of abuse have been quite heavy. However, it's also given me a new level of reverence for the Savior. It's given me a very small idea of the weight.
Hey everybody. So in 2012 and 2013,
I guess I'm done here. Am I getting the boot here? All right. All right. These past few months of spending time with survivors of abuse has been quite heavy. However, it's also given me a new level of reverence for the Savior. It's given me a very small idea of the weight of his suffering. Truly, only a God could bear to experience and feel the pain of such intentional cruelty and suffering inflicted upon the innocent. It also makes all of our normal day-to-day challenges and trials seem so trivial. While yes, some days are heavy, there's always duality. And that brings days of immense joy. The vigil that we did was one of those days. I appreciate your support. Actually, we appreciate your support very much. And I know that God did not send us to this earth at such a time as this to fail. He will prevail, and he will use whatever weak offering we are capable and able to contribute towards that end. We may fail, but he will not, and nor will this cause. In the end, the only hero of this story will be Christ. The rest of us are just foot soldiers, fumbling in the dark, relying on his grace to hold the line. I'm just thankful he is willing to let me fight, and pray he protects me long enough to make a difference. I love you guys. Thank you. Anything you want to say?
Right. Thank you so much, Jason. That was an amazing speech. Give it up for Jason again. It was great. All right. All right. So are we still awake, hopefully? Hopefully everyone's still awake. Because we have another performance performed by Heather Ritchie. She will perform one song, and then we will keep moving on with the program.
see footprints in the snow. I just hope you understand. I felt all that you go through. I do it all again for you. And he'll be there to carry you. When your burden's getting heavy, carry you.
Move cells.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Heather. Let's give it another round of applause. Okay. So we have Eric Bustos. He's our next speaker. As he's coming up here on the stage, I want to read a little bit about him. He's a proud husband, father, and CEO of Freedom Blend Supplements. He's also a former Salt Lake police officer who resigned after a wrongful suspension due to declining to be in a gay pride parade, despite being willing to do security. He authored Dispatched and became a public speaker, eventually creating the Utah Revival with large rallies to support small businesses during shutdowns and protest mandates. He also remains active online, advocating for personal liberty, faith, and supporting whistleblowers, as well as using his influence to shed light on corruption. So let's give it for Eric. Here's your plaque.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Can you just put it over there? Thanks so much. Thank you. Well, so are you guys, one of the reasons why I come up to events like this is to just feel the spirit of liberty. And I try to talk about that every time because it is a frequency. It's a real thing. It's, when you're around like-minded people, it rejuvenates me because I have to be honest, like, the things that are happening in the world right now, I want to echo what Jason was saying, like things are not looking good. Even though there was a big tide in this last election, you know, Doge is seeing all these numbers, but if people don't start getting arrested like really, really soon, we need to get prepared for what's coming, is what I'm trying to say. And when I got into this, I don't even know what this is. I feel like we're sometimes like what is that movie, The Greatest Showman? I feel like we all come together and we're like this kind of little circus group of liberty lovers. And I love it so much. Jake up here doing his thing. Can you please give a round of applause to Dallin and Marlene Oakes, Jake's parents, who are here as well? Where are you guys at? There they are. You guys, sometimes you have a great son and he stands for liberty, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. It doesn't, that spirit doesn't make sense, and liberty is very lonely sometimes. And the things that Jason's talking about, the things that Phil talks about, things that I talk about, they think we're crazy. And I just want to testify. I want to say that we are in the same, I believe we're in the same spot as the Nephites were in right before the Savior came the first time to America. Because if you study, and I'm not saying this is an exact parallel, but if you study chapter 4, even if you're not a Latter-day Saint, study chapter 4 through 11 and look even to the years. I mean, in chapter 7, in the 21st year, I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but in the 21st year, they did not come up to battle. Well, who are they? You ever hear that? Who are they? They did not come up to battle, but they came up on all sides to lay siege round about the people of Nephi. That was the people of God. Those were the chosen people that were supposed to maintain liberty in the covenant land of America, and they didn't do it. And they did suppose if they should cut them off from all of their outward privileges, that they would hem them up according to their wishes. And then a couple years later, 9 years later, in chapter 6, verse 14, it says that there was a great inequality among them. Are we seeing that now? A great inequality? The church began to be broken up in the 30th year. You know that there's global agendas amongst us, right? You guys know this. They don't want America to be America. They don't want us to have any freedom. And so that happened in the Book of Mormon. In the 30th year, there was a great inequality and everything started to break apart. Save it were a few of the Lamanites who were converted to the true faith, it says. So it was the people that were outside of the church that were talking about Jesus. They were the ones and they would not depart from it. And they were willing, and with all diligence, to keep the commandments of the Lord. I'm not saying this exactly, but I'm just trying to show that it's possible we're in the same pattern. And then in chapter 7, they break into all these tribes. I made a really bad mistake right at the beginning of all these events. There was a group of people which I didn't agree with tactically, right? They went in and one particular guy made a lot of noise in this school board meeting. And I made a mistake by going after that online openly, right? Because he was obviously angry. There was a group of them angry. They got citations, arrested. And I made a big mistake by saying that I not only disagreed with it, but it was dumb. What I should have done was I should have called those people directly and said, hey, this is what I think about it, but I didn't do that. And I apologize for it. And what I'm seeing now, especially with us, especially with a whole bunch of liberty lovers, people that are really good people. I was talking to Phil Lyman about this earlier. It's almost as if the caucus system is, just imagine the Colosseum, right? And you guys remember when, I can't remember the guy's name, it was like, I can't remember. He picks the gladiators and he says to Maximus, he says, and you guys can help me, he says, if you win the crowd, you win what? You win your freedom. And so they would choose a gladiator and the gladiator would fight and then they got to come out. But I feel like what happened with SB 54 a long time ago, it's almost as if they put a chain on the Colosseum with a big padlock, and now we're all starting to fight each other. And I'm guilty of it. And if there's anybody out there that I've said anything, I'm sorry. Because we cannot, and then Maximus, what he says, the only way that we're going to beat them, do you remember? Is if we do it together. That's the only way. So I think we should have a rule, maybe like, hey, if we can agree with somebody 85% of the time and then the other 15%, let's just call them up. Let's just call them up. But I want to leave because we're kind of running out of time. I have more time, but I want to leave with this, that we are here to not only stand for something, but to become something. We're here to be tested. And I testify that the kingdom of God is liberty. In 2 Corinthians 3:17, it says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And so it is my prayer that we can always stand for that, to become that, so that we can be prepared for the kingdom of God. Remember, this is about becoming something. This isn't about stopping, because if we read scriptures and we see what's happening, we're not stopping anything. We're becoming something. And so, thank you, and I love you all, and I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Eric. That was a great speech. Just give him another clap. So
I don't need my
our
phone.
last speaker of the night is Bill Lyman. Phil is he's a former state representative known for consistently voting in alignment with what was right even when unpopular. As a county commissioner, legislator, and as a candidate for governor, Bill said that honest people have rights too, and they deserve representatives who will stand up for them. As a county commissioner, Phil fought for access to public lands for both productive and recreational use. As a result, he was heavily fined and jailed, targeted by agencies during the Obama administration. He was later pardoned by Donald Trump. He is currently running for the Republican chair and is a father, grandfather, and married to the love of his life, and he's been trying to impress ever since 8th grade. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. There he is, yeah. So, and I've said this before, I was just sitting at my computer innocently, and on comes this video of this guy jogging up the red rocks of St. George, and it says, they shut down the business, so we're going to go open them up, we're going to have a business revival, and I just said, I know where I'm going to be on this such and such a day, and at a vineyard, and got a call not very long after from Eric. This first time I actually spoke to him, and he inspired me to stand up and do good things. So I want to say, on January 20th of this year, I was out in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration, and Jody came with me. All of you, my wife Jody, she's the most amazing person. And yes, I have been trying to impress her since 8th grade. One of these days, I'm telling you. But we were there, and if anybody else was a part of it, went out there, we found out that we had really good tickets, but it was canceled. The outdoor inauguration was canceled, so your tickets didn't mean anything. So we went down the morning of, and we stood in line for a very, very long time, and it was extremely cold. Super, super cold, and Jody is not a cold weather person. And we stood there for 5 hours or so in line, and I believe that the line just went around the block. I think there wasn't going anywhere, so it became apparent we're not going to get into the stadium. But the point was, later, as the weekend was wrapping up, I said, what was your favorite part of the weekend? And she said, honestly, standing in line, because we were standing with other people who felt the same way that we did. And it was a beautiful thing. It was freedom-loving people, and I wake up happy every day thinking, what's Trump going to do today? Good, bad, or different. He's going to do something, and I really, really love that. I'll tell you another experience, and this is kind of a personal experience. And, 10 years ago, Jody was dropping me off at the Purgatory Correctional Facility in southern Utah, and I was checking in to go to jail. We were happy. It was what else are you gonna do? We've been through so much, and this was fine. And I spent 10 days there, and I read many, many books, and they don't turn the lights off at night. And when I got there, I walked in, and you're carrying your bag of somebody else's clothing in one hand and a mattress in the other, and stay on I didn't come from a family where you're trained all these kind of things, so this was all new experience, very interesting. I walked into the common area where the inmates were. You're either locked down or out in the common area for a period of time, and then you go back and forth. Some of you are nodding, so yeah. And
But I looked at these people and I thought, I am in trouble. These people look crazy. A lot of them were smiling like, hey, welcome. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I've got myself into. I mean, an hour earlier, I was just with my beautiful wife, and now I'm in this place. And but what I found out was 2 days later, I looked just the same as all of them, because you have no hair products, you can't really shave, and so it's like being on scout camp for 10 days, and that's the way it felt. But I enjoyed, honestly, associating with a lot of those people, and I learned a lot. I won't say how these words came to me, but the night before I came home, the words came to me. The time has come. Now is my work made manifest. Strengthen your resolve and bear witness of my power to accomplish unspeakable good. So when I left the next day, I left very happy. I left very free, knowing that good things are coming. And I've never lost that feeling. As Jason said, I loved his closing statement. It's not us, it's God, and he is doing unspeakable good. And I know it's happening, and I watched it happen through our campaign. We've seen miracles. I told my people over and over, I said, just wait, this week, there's something is gonna happen. Every week it happens, and it did. It was just one thing after another. And staying in the fight as we have, additional miracles have happened. Every day that you learn the truth is a good day, even if it's a truth you didn't want to learn. And we have learned the truth about so many things. And now watching as President Trump rolls out the DOGE effort and the prosecution and election integrity, it's like, thank you. Somebody is going to pay attention to elections. If we don't have our elections, we don't have a Republican form of government. I want to say thank you to Natalie. She's such a great inspiration as a running mate. And her family, and getting to know the Petersons and all that they've done. It truly is just, these are things that I wouldn't trade for anything. I was saying today, we were up in Weber County, and I said, who wants to come and spend their Saturday at a committee meeting? And the answer is all of us, because we care about liberty. So here we are, we're doing it. And I do bear witness that there is unspeakable good that's going to happen if we stay in the fight and believe in the promises that we've been given. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes.
All right. Stephanie, I'm going to steal the spotlight for a second. I think maybe my labor hours in this might have earned me one more minute. I actually want to give another minute to someone else while we try to get Aaron Davidson's video. Aaron Davidson is in Spain right now on a much-needed vacation. Interesting fact, actually, Aaron Davidson was my running mate in 2022, but I've been so supportive of everything he's been doing. Really good job. I just want to bring Eric Moonsos on stage one more time, because he drove like 4 hours to get up here. And so I've always been a busybody, trying to put my mind to things, and I'd occasionally watch Fox News. I've always had conservative values. I always watch Fox News on occasion, perhaps even more than most young people, but it was just on occasion. I never got politically involved. Well, actually, I take that back. Some people pressured me to go make calls for Mitt Romney when I got back from my mission. But I saw what the video that Bill Lyman said he saw about the businesses are shut down, we're not putting up with this, and here's a call to action. I saw that video and I called up Eric. I was like, hey, I'm good at helping put on events. You want my help? And this guy inspired me to do what I'm doing. And you can blame my activism on Eric Moodsauce. It's his fault. So thank you for driving 4 hours up here. I want you to give one more 30-second thought, dude. You're so inspiring.
I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say, but I love you, Jay. I will drive 8 hours to come and see you, okay? Every single time. So that's all I got.
They're saying talk about Teslas. All right. She'll introduce a tidbit about Aaron. He's got, as I mentioned, he's on much needed vacation with his family in Spain, and he did give us a little video. But Stephanie, tell us just a little bit about Aaron.
Okay, let me just quickly read this before we watch this video, which I'd love to be in Spain right now too. He was involved with the organization People's Rights. Then in 2022, he ran and was elected as Utah County Clerk, where he's undertaken several initiatives to promote election integrity.
Hey, everybody. So in 2012 and 2013, that school year, I actually took my family and we lived in Spain for that school year. And after we came home, I kind of planned out, I wanted to go back to Spain in 2020. And something happened in 2020 that really changed things. And the epidemic happened. They say the pandemic, I say pandemic. But I became a protester to the vaccine and to the face masks. And it got myself in a little bit of trouble. Some of you know the story of me knocking on the doors at the Alpine School District. And I'm kind of showing some background. Where's the video right now? You might be being able to hear some of the background music. So in 2012, our plans got changed. The world changed. And I remember back in 2012, I read this article that said, the best candidate will always be yourself. And I kind of understood it, but not really. And then in 2020 happened, and I understand. I decided to run for office. And that was the impetus of having heard that or read that article. That the only best candidate is yourself. So I looked around and knew that I wanted to run. And looked at the qualifications and looked at county clerk. I never really paid too much attention to county clerk, but I ran for county clerk and won. And I have had a really good time, and I understand now how things and how politicians and how people working in public office can be swayed to not really work for the public, but work for themselves, work for power. There's a lot of people that have gone into office and they have great intentions, but for some reason it's just kind of it's a little windy here. And so that was a great year. So I won in 2022 after I had been prosecuted for disorderly conduct for not knowing Alpine School District Board. There's another thing that I learned in 9th grade. We were doing a project on vocations that we wanted to go into. And I read the statement that said there's 3 kinds of people. Those that make things happen, those that know that things happen, and those that have no idea it even happened. And I wasn't thinking politics then, I was thinking more technology. But the same thing is true of politics. There's a lot of people that make things happen, there's a lot of people that watch and know that it's happening, and then there's those people that just, they have no idea what's going on. So, I guess my message is, stay involved. I know you're here because you are involved, and get even more involved. Don't just be the one that knows it happens, be the one that makes go to your legislature and legislature said, talk to them. Make sure that they're doing what you want them to do, not what they want to do. So many times you go there and take comments and committees and until they don't listen to you. But if you're in contact with them before it happens, so many times they do listen to you and change things. This last legislative session was Bill 263, which I thought was great. There were some issues with it, but overall, it made the elections a lot more transparent. And after it passed in the House and Senate, there were a couple clerks in the establishment clerks. They got together and penned an article or penned a letter to the governor and called all the other clerks and had him sign a letter asking the governor to veto the bill. And I was the only clerk that said, no way, I'm not going to veto. I don't want him to veto this. I want him to pass it. And after he did, he went ahead and signed it. But I think it was partly because I didn't, and I made a little bit of stink of it, and I got other people to call the governor and ask him not to veto it. They didn't end up vetoing it, but they compromised and said that they're going to go back and take out some of the stuff that I like and keep some of the stuff. But I am so glad I didn't sign that letter. So please just stay involved and be a patriot, and I'm going to enjoy myself. So I hope you're enjoying yourselves, and hope to see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, I know we're still here. Good job, guys. Proud of you. I'm just going to give a couple. So we have a couple honorable mentions. They're not here tonight, but I'm just going to give them a shout out for what they've done. Carlos Moreno, Chelsea Hope, Jen Brown, Brunson Brothers, Kish North, Sophie Anderson, and Gail Ruzika, I believe. So, yep, they're not here, but at least we gave them a shout out. So, okay, so I'm going to turn the time over to Jake, and then after that, we will have a closing prayer. And if someone could volunteer for that, that would be wonderful.
I called up Stephanie and was like, hey, do you want to MC in front of like a whole bunch of people? Give her a round of applause. Stephanie and her mom, Susan Toon in the back here, raise your hand. Super supportive friends. Did a lot to help me in the beginning of Liberty United kick this off. Appreciative of them. Guys, look around. This is the remnant. You guys are the troopers. I just want to tell you that because I get around, I mentioned I'm a busybody. I can't sit still. I do music, I do everything, but I talk to a lot of people, religious, not religious, whatever, all walks of life. Everyone, even non-religious folks, can tell you there's a shift. There's a shift right now. Everyone feels it. You can't not feel it. You know what I'm talking about. There's an energy shift. But I just want to remind us that when it says the great and dreadful day, it's not the great dreadful day. It's great and dreadful. It depends. But I know it can be great. And it depends on this. And I battle with God a lot because I'm like, I am so flawed. I feel so ridiculous being an imperfect person saying, we need to refocus. We need to whatever. I have so much I need to work on. But God keeps pressing me, get out there, say these things. And so I just want to say, I know that Christ is coming. And I'm so grateful for each one of you. There's 1,000 people that could be on this stage to be thanked for their efforts. And I just want to thank each one of you that are willing to stand up in whatever way. And I just want to remind you that liberty is greater than freedom. Freedom is your gift to be a free agent. But you could be free and go choose to eat 3 square meals a day for 365 days a year at McDonald's. Are you still free? Yes. Eventually, you might lead your freedom to where you're bedbound and a 700-pound person in bed. So eventually, our freedom can lead us to limiting our own freedom because of our own stupidity. But freedom doesn't necessarily make you empowered. Liberty is power. Liberty is using your gift as a free agent to follow principles, creating power. The grace of Jesus Christ is the enabling power of Jesus Christ. I like to ask audiences, are you saved by works or by grace? I know how Pastor Matt Anderson will answer, but let me ask you guys, are we saved by works or by grace? I heard of both. That's the most common answer I get. I'm glad to hear more people saying grace. We are saved by grace and grace alone. But if I give you a gift, Stephanie, if I give you a gift, and you leave it on the counter, you do nothing with it, you do nothing with that gift, it doesn't really do you any good, does it? But no matter whether you use the gift or you don't use the gift, it's paid for no matter what. And nothing you do can repay that gift. But the way we show appreciation to the gift is using it by putting forth an effort to apply it in our lives. And that is the atonement of Jesus Christ. His grace is a power, and it creates liberty. I just want to remind us that that is a grace you can access in your life to find power in your life. And the more that you are willing to take on more truth and stand for it, the more power you'll receive in your life. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your support. Have a wonderful evening. Do we have a volunteer for a prayer? Greg Durden, State Chair of the Independent American Party.